Welcome everybody to another edition of the Wrestling Commentaries. This is John, I'm Travis, let's get to it.
We're going to talk about a very interesting topic in wrestling today, burials. We're going to talk about the burial of wrestlers, not The Undertaker's burial, because according to the WWE creative team, we do not remember that.
So, do you want to start with, I guess, Sheamus?
He was getting buried since winning the King of the Ring tournament, which, by the way, is normally supposed to kickstart a career.
And they said it was a curse.
Yeah.
Whose career did it ever curse? Booker T's. He won a title, but it was still not a high point in his career.
Yeah, it kind of breathed new life into him. It brought him back to the forefront. So I don't know if we could really say it was the curse of it.
Okay.
Because his character had gotten stale, and he was kind of down in the lower cards.
Which is ridiculous for it being Booker T.
Heck, he had the job to the Boogeyman at WrestleMania 22 in a handicap match with his wife.
Stupid. But, okay, I guess we should talk about definitely Ted DiBiase then.
Oh yeah, Ted DiBiase. Him getting beat up by Triple H last night was the best thing that's happened to him in almost a year.
Which, that's really sad.
Yeah. Remember when he was coming out of the triple threat at last year's WrestleMania with Orton and Rhodes? Everybody thought Rhodes would be the Jannetty of that team, and DiBiase would go on to be the huge next big thing.
Yep, and it's actually the other way around.
Yeah, except I really wouldn't call Rhodes the next big thing, but
he's an undercard at WrestleMania. He's undercard, but he's mid-card. The mid undercard, yeah.
Lower mid-card, I guess you want to call it that.
Yeah. And, he is going against Rey Mysterio. That's a huge match where he, shines at WrestleMania.
Mm. Yeah.
And he's been cutting some of the best promos of his career so far. These past couple weeks.
Yeah, his new character's kind of... I think they're going to... The only thing I'm worried about is that they'll put too much focus on the intensity of the mask and everything like that and take away from his actual wrestling ability.
Yeah.
But, see... What was I going to say? I had some comment about something. Anyway, if there's anything else you want to bring up, we'll see if I can come back to it.
Okay. Let's talk about Triple H's promo. It's a good promo.
Always a good promo from the game.
I like how... I like just how he, brought up how the fans are buzzing about it and made it obvious that, the reason why he said it's the most important match is because it is. Because
True.
I was watching the History of WrestleMania, the first DVD, and the Edge was on there, and he was talking about how Taker's streak is more important than the titles matches. And Triple H and Jericho were talking about how they had to follow that match, and what was it? Anyway, whoever the other one was in between those two, and they were on last, and they talked about how they didn't want to go on after, HBK and Undertaker because...
Oh, you mean when Orton and Triple H went on after that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The crowd was dead, but, at WrestleMania 19, Lesnar and Angle wrestled probably the greatest pure wrestling match in Mania history, and the crowd was dead for it because right before that match was Rock versus Austin for the last time.
Yeah. And there was the one with Jericho and HBK.
Yeah, but that was a little bit earlier in the night, so it wasn't a big...
Yeah, but they stole the show, though.
No, I still wouldn't say that, because Lesnar's shooting star press was pretty... You'll always see that.
Well, I'm just going by what, they talked about on DVDs and all that kind of stuff.
But plus, you gotta take... Personally, I think the Lesnar Angle match was a lot better wrestled, to be honest. Nothing against the Jericho-Michaels match. It was a pretty good match, but I thought that the Angle-Lesnar match was just perfect.
And, I remember... No, the Jericho Michaels one was at the Mania with The Rock and Hogan.
No, that was the night
Wasn't
that.
it?
No, that was the night
What was
Triple H.
that?
Which one?
That was the one where Jericho got beat by Triple H, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I watched Jericho's Breaking the Code, and I'm getting a little bit confused. So, then I got the person right at least.
You were on the right track.
Yeah. But
Well,
just talking about people still in the show and.
Since we've kind of gotten onto the Mania subject, Travis, what would you say is the greatest WrestleMania of all time?
Oh Lord. Are we talking purely just the matches, or the hype leading into it, or just the you know what I mean?
It can just whatever you think qualifies it. Could be everything that you just mentioned and more.
I want to say either, what was it, 3? 3 was Hogan, Andre.
Yeah.
Either 3 or 17.
17 was that one where
Rock Austin too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the one where Vince joined up with Hogan. That was also where Undertaker and Triple H happened for the first time at WrestleMania. By the way, I remember what I was thinking of.
What?
I was about to say.
They're not bringing up that they faced in the past.
Yeah, because once again, WWE creative doesn't think that we remember things.
That's another thing. When they were talking about Undertaker on the DVD, they didn't show any clips at all. And on the Greatest Superstars of top 100 or the top 50 superstars, they didn't show any of him as Biker Taker, which is ridiculous because he had some great matches. Not as great, of course, but they were great matches still.
But I could see, like, if you're sitting there making a case for how he has the greatest gimmick of all time, it doesn't really seem as important if he had a different gimmick in there,
Yeah. I just hate it because I know I watched the Triple H Undertaker match from 17, and it was awesome.
That was a good one. Also, Lesnar versus Taker in Hell in a Cell was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, most people remember it for the amount of blood that Undertaker lost. I remember it for the amazing spots in it, like when Lesnar swung from the top of the cage to kick Undertaker, or when Lesnar actually picked up the ring steps and tossed them into the ring like they were nothing. I mean, those things weigh like 50 to 100 pounds, so they're heavier than they make them look, folks.
Another thing I want to talk about is the Miz and Cena match. And how do you think that they're hyping it right? Do you think they're handling it the right way?
I think that it's going the way. I think it's going as good as a Miz Cena storyline could go.
I think they're handling it okay. I think a little bit too much focus on The Rock and Cena.
Yeah.
Not that they shouldn't be focusing in on The Rock. What I'm saying is they should have balanced it a little better with The Miz being in there a little bit more until these, past 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing. It's kind of playing into the drama of it. Like, is Cena so distracted by The Rock that Miz is going to creep up on him?
What do you think? You going to get Super Cena?
Let's see. I think what's going to happen is I can't tell you who's going to win at WrestleMania because,
Which they've done their job then.
Well, the reason I can't is because, I'm pretty sure Edge isn't walking out with the World Heavyweight title, whether Christian gets added to the Triple Threat and wins it, or if Del Rio wins it, or whatever happens. And I know they don't really like to have both titles change hands at WrestleManias.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the only time I think they've done that is WrestleMania 21. So, knowing that, that's what kind of makes it unpredictable.
That's another thing. WrestleMania 20, on the History of WrestleMania DVD.
They don't have Chris Benoit on there, do they?
No. They didn't even mention the match at all. Like, I know you don't have to show the clips or something, but you gotta mention it. My God.
It was the main event of...
And it was a great match.
It was the main event of probably the last WrestleMania of its era. I mean, it was the last time The Rock wrestled at WrestleMania. It was the last time Mick Foley wrestled at WrestleMania 22. What am I saying? It was the last WrestleMania to feature Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, and well, that's not. I mean, that was Lesnar's second WrestleMania. That was Goldberg's first. That's not too big of a deal.
But the names are. Well, and also, I mean, it was the last one so far to take place in the Garden.
Yeah,
it won't happen again till 30.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Even though Survivor Series this year's taking place in MSG.
And, by the way, did you know that SummerSlam the past 2 years has taken place at the Staples Center, and it's going to again this year?
They must be getting a good draw or something, then, from it.
They're billing it as the blockbuster of the summer, so... But I think it's kind of stupid to have the pay-per-view at the same place over and over.
Oh, well, yeah.
I wonder who does that.
Well, they had 2 WrestleManias in a row in Atlantic City.
Which ones were those?
That was, I think, 4 and 5. The tournament one and the one after.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were both at Trump Plaza.
Yep. Which was the first time Donald Trump and McMahon never really conversed.
Yeah, now they're like best friends, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good friends, apparently.
That's why Vince would let Donald shave his head, and that's why Donald would let that crazy guy give him a stunner.
What's the other matches on the card we're forgetting?
Well, let's see, we have Del Rio Edge, which will most likely be Del Rio Edge Christian, if it's not all. You're going to see me with a bottle of Jose Cuervo.
There's the United States title match that just got announced.
That was just added last night, so...
That, if they give them the time, that could steal the show.
It could.
Sheamus is a great big man. And, of course...
Daniel Bryan is the greatest wrestler since Chris Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
And... we also have Del Rio, who's receiving the Lesnar push.
Yes, no doubt.
And also let's talk about the Cool, Ziggler versus Trish, Snooki, and Morrison.
Oh, Lord.
Now, am I the only one that could see, like, alright, you know Snooki's a big pop culture icon. Everybody watches the Jersey Shore.
Of course.
Now, the idea of her stepping in the ring and, doing wrestling moves and having them performed on her or whatever, it could be intriguing.
Right, of course.
And people will, and you know how Morrison is with his crazy spots and stuff.
Yeah.
There are probably a lot of people who might get together and watch WrestleMania just to see Snooki. Of course they're going to blow their money on the show. They're going to sit there and watch the whole show, but that's where their attention is going to be drawn to, is the Snooki match.
Right.
Well, Morrison goes in there and Ziggler's also in the match, but he doesn't do the insane spots Morrison does, so that's why I'm not saying this, but...
He's more like Mr. Perfect. He's more just sound wrestling moves.
Yeah. But anyway, now you gotta remember, these are people that don't even watch wrestling that I'm referring to here that are gonna be watching this match with full attention.
Okay.
Morrison does a bunch of crazy spots in that match, and you know what happens?
What?
Those people are like, man, that Morrison guy's crazy. But, they're talking about him. He's getting all the media coverage because everybody's talking about him. And if everybody's talking about him, people are going to want him on their talk shows. And I could be exaggerating with what could happen, but
it's possible. It's not over exaggerating.
But
it's possible. Yes.
That could be what they're thinking with this match. And same thing with Ziggler. Maybe they'll get attention on him too.
And it's not going to hurt Cool. And it's not,
It's not going to hurt Cool unless Snooki gets the pinfall on one of them or something.
I'm thinking the reason why Vicky's in it is so she'll take the pinfall, and it's not going to take heat off either Ziggler nor Cool.
Is Vicky in it, or is she just the
corner
lady?
I think. Maybe. If not, then I don't know. Probably not, so I don't know. Somebody's going to have to take the pinfall and lose heat.
And Snooki being on Raw took away the fact that Trish was wrestling for the first time in years.
Yeah. Oh. True.